3, 2, 1. Ready or not, we're doing this. Yo, what's going on, Hog fans? This did not go as I thought it would. This announcement wasn't supposed to happen for another minute. So if you haven't heard, Arkansas lands 2 verbal commitments today from 3-star defensive back Jaylen Lewis and 3-star linebacker Manny Powell. And I was going to stream it and everything, but it happened a little prematurely. All right. I know this is, again, unorthodox. We don't do lately, these live streams. They're just kind of all over the place, but I do appreciate you guys for being here, watching and everything. I am also going to say I'm going to apologize in advance. I don't know what's going on with OBS today. I'm not having it. It's the settings. Something's going on. I don't know what's going on. So a heads up on that. By the way, happy 4th of July. Holy cow. 4th of July. I've got my fireworks here ready to go. I got some neon lights. Y'all are going to like these neon lights. Oh, I'm not going to. I wouldn't light them right here and now, but my kids are going to love these neon light sparklers. Sparkles. And then we got, what else did we get? We got a little tank here. Got the tank. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, if you've been by a fireworks tent, apparently they're like damn near double the cost on fireworks. So, good times. As if everything else wasn't expensive enough. As it is. Fireworks should be at the bottom of your list of concerns for things that have been driven up on price. But welcome to 2021. 2020 sucked. 2021, I don't know. I'd sure like the cost of some of this stuff to come down. If you guys, by the way, if you're trying to build like a home or you're renovating, good luck. The materials are as much as triple the normal cost. It's ridiculous. If you try and I'm just looking at wood to go to replace some fence posts in my backyard, and it's like quadruple the cost. And why not? Fireworks too. It's just the result. We're not going to get into all the politic and all right. So good day for the Razorbacks. They land a couple of 3-star prospects. I'm going to say both of these guys, I think, were pretty high on this staff's list of must-gets. Let's start off with Jaylen Williams, or Lewis. I don't know why I said Jaylen Williams. Jaylen Lewis, 5'11", 175-pound defensive back out of Brownsville, Tennessee, from Haywood High School. Arkansas attacking the state of Tennessee again. He was given all predictions, by the way, on 247 were to the Razorbacks. He chose Arkansas. He had a bunch of offers. This is a guy, first off, he's lengthy, right? He's right under about 6 foot. Again, 6 foot, about 180 pounds. He's lengthy. He's got the length that you like to hear about with these corners, with these defensive backs. Guys that could go up and grab the ball, right? Long limbs. He's kind of one of those long-limbed corners. He's not one of these 6'2", 6'3" guys, but pretty lengthy. In fact, someone else had reported he was actually closer to 6'1". That's a tall corner. You just don't see a lot of corners above 6 foot. They exist. It's not to say they don't exist, and yeah, they're in the SEC. But typically, it's like you look around the pros, you look around Power 5 football, they're typically that 5'10" to 6, maybe 6 foot, right? He's 5'11", 180 pounds, again, long arms. He's rated, according to 247, as the number 58 overall corner, top 20 player out of the state of Tennessee. By the way, state of Tennessee, pretty talented class for them. I think they actually have a couple of 5-stars in their state this year. Kind of ridiculous for them. Good stuff. And it doesn't look like they're going to get – the Volunteers are going to get either of them, or at least they're not going to get – they might split them. Hell, we'd take one, wouldn't we? We'd take one 5-star. But, so – I like Jaylen Lewis. This, again, ton of offers. I don't know how many of them are committable. I was told probably close to half of the P5 offers were committable in at least one of those, other than Arkansas being out of the SEC at the least. So there have been eyeballs on this kid. Pretty solid grab. And I think, too, you needed a corner. You needed a defensive back because you've got Miles Rouser, who's a 4-star safety, out of Michigan, by the way. How often does Arkansas go that far north to grab a 4-star defensive back? And actually, I mean, not that they haven't, but when's the last time they went and grabbed a kid like that, right? Miles Rouser's big time. He's kind of the anchor of this defensive back class so far. I don't know how many more DBs they're going to end up taking. I'm not entirely sure. That'd be a good question for Trey Biddy or Danny West or some of them. But I don't know. I don't know how many more corners they plan on taking, but I like the direction they're going with the secondary. Miles Rouser is impressive. I mean, Arkansas walked up there and took Miles Rouser. That's pretty Sam Carter's killing it. I'm really impressed with Sam Carter. Good afternoon, Ty. Arkansas has, we're going to get there. He has. I released that in our Discord. If you're in our Discord, you would know that, Daytona Beach, sir. I mean, come on, let's be honest. We all know why the cost of things is going up, says Corn Pop. I'm not going there. Woo, damn Suey. That pit crew is reeling in the studs. They're doing pretty good. I'm not going to lie. This class right now, they just keep climbing. Yeah. So according to his background, and by the way, I mean he went on an official visit back on June 25th, and Indiana fans were pretty on Twitter, and I saw this, and they really thought they were going to get this guy. He was also on an official visit with Auburn back on June 15th. Again, I don't just because they go on OVs, it doesn't always necessarily mean they're committable offers. But I'm pretty sure Auburn was that other SEC school. I don't know. There's something flying around in here. But it wouldn't surprise me, I should say, if Auburn was the other SEC school that was interested. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was more than just two SEC schools that had legit offers on the table for him. And then on June 11th, he went on an official visit to Oregon State. So he's been busy in the month of June. In the month of July, he picks the Hogs. Again, I think it's a great pickup. His athletic background, according to 247, is he helped Haywood to a 10-4 record and a Tennessee Division I 4A state runner-up finish. As a junior, played both ways, primarily at safety with snaps at multiple spots on offense. Okay, so they think he's going to end up playing safety. So, again, it just kind of depends on where you read on him. I've also read he played corner the year before, probably end up at safety. I don't know, and that's the other thing. We don't know about the rest of his measurables. I don't know a lot. I don't know about his 40. I don't know, the all the other analytics that you can grab from, camp information and what have you. I don't know anything else about him. But I love his size, and that size does scream safety. Again, 6 foot, about $180. I think he could end up playing safety here. I think Arkansas would be better off for it. But I also wouldn't have a problem with him being offered as a corner. Now, I don't know if Arkansas offered him as a corner. I have no idea. Powell and Lewis were both offered by Michigan too. Love to hear that. Mm-hmm. That's right. Michigan was all over Manny Powell. So, moving on to Manny Powell. Yep. You heard it. He has committed to Arkansas. He only had 2 predictions, but both of which were to Arkansas. I love the 6'3", 230-pound linebackers. These guys that are big, right? And as long as you can move with that frame, you look at a guy like Grant Morgan, who's not huge, right? He moves really well, and the thing about Grant Morgan is he takes up it seems like the whole middle of the field between him and Bumper Pool. And Morgan is aggressive, and he knows where the ball's going to be at, right? Morgan now, for me, is the standard for linebackers that are not super big, but can go out and make plays. Manny Powell, again, don't know a ton about him. I haven't watched a lot of film, but the only feedback I've gotten on Manny, and the only thing I've been able to read, is that he plays pretty aggressive as well. And he's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid of putting himself out there, risking life and limb to make a play. I think he's actually played multiple spots on defense and on offense. I tell you guys, for those of you who also podcast and stuff, keeping the microphone without these little, and this is a new mic, and you get these little hairs. I don't know what they are. I guess I'm shedding. I don't know what's going on. It's driving me crazy. I've got this hair in my sight. But yeah, Manny Powell, I like a lot. I like him so much. I think he's really underrated. Again, he's a top 112. He's number 112 on 247 Sports. He's a top 30 player out of the state of Ohio. Again, he's out of Canton, Ohio at McKinley High School, a part of this 2022 class. Indiana had an offer on the table. Michigan, from what I understand, Michigan pushed really hard for Manny Powell. This was not them like playing tricks or whatever, going after a teammate or anything like that. They really wanted Manny Powell. Arkansas beats him out. Syracuse had an offer, and West Virginia also had offers. I think he ended up with almost 20 total offers, and I'm sure the vast majority of those were committable offers. There's not a lot on his measurables either. We don't know. I don't know a ton. Again, that's a great question for someone like Trey Biddy or Danny West, who can give you a little bit more in depth on someone like him. But I like his physicality. I like that he plays with his size. I think he's got the frame based on pictures that I've seen. He could probably even tack on more weight, bulk up a little bit more. But you don't have a problem with 6'3", 225 pounds. You don't have a problem with that. I can recall the Razorbacks going after these linebackers that were like 6'1", but they were 210 pounds coming out of high school, soaking wet maybe. Right? You've got this guy who's 6'3", 225. It's happened too often that Arkansas goes after these hybrid safety/linebackers that just rarely work out. And the best example of a guy that has worked out, that actually played safety in high school and turned out to be an all-conference, I think even maybe an all-American caliber linebacker, was Dre Greenlaw. And we see what he's doing with the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's doing pretty well. I mean, I'm curious what his rating is going to be on Madden this year. I'm really curious what it's going to be. Hunter Henry's as well. Now that he's with the Pats, I wonder if that – I doubt that affects his score much, but just kind of curious where those guys land on their ratings. But Dre Greenlaw has worked out well, but it's too often – I go back to Samuel Djibutu. You go even further back to Tony Bua. These smaller safety for safety, 6'1", 215, 220 is pretty big. You go back to, did I say Jericho Nelson? Jericho Nelson, you go back to these hybrid safeties. Maybe that's who I meant to say, and I said somebody else. I'm sure I did. My mind's on like 1,000 things today. I've got a lot going on. We got 4th of July. As soon as we're done here, we're going to go to my in-laws and shoot off fireworks. I've got other stuff around here that needs to get done. My mind is in 100 places, so I apologize. But too often you go after these guys, and it's like, yeah, they're athletic and they can play the field, right? They're speedy. They have good east-west. They can outrun to the edges. But in SEC, man, you've got to be able to defend the north-south around the line of scrimmage. And that's been a huge problem in Arkansas. They get these safeties. These guys they recruit to play safety. They end up having to turn them into linebackers because they struggle. They've struggled year after year of getting guys like this, of getting guys like Manny Powell, who's 6'2", 6'3", 225, 230 pounds, who can bulk up, who have the strength and the aggressiveness and a lack of fear of playing up around the front seven. As opposed to these kids who played defensive back most of their high school career, and then they're asked to come in and play inside typically outside linebacker. Right? I think there was another Jerry Franklin. You guys remember Jerry Franklin? If I remember right, Franklin was recruited to play linebacker, but he was a little bit smaller in stature. And I'm sure there's another one. I talked about Jericho Nelson. You can name so many of them, and they're always smaller in size, and they get thrown around like rag dolls inside the box. Now, Djibutu was impressive for a guy his size. I remember thinking, like, man, if he were 3 inches taller, he'd be all over the NFL. If he were just 2-3 inches taller, Samuel Djibutu was special. That guy was awesome. Jericho Nelson had moments, right? Franklin had moments. But it's so rare for Arkansas to get these kids that are 6'3", 6'4", 230, they can play to that frame, add on to that frame, and actually end up being pretty good. And they've recruited over the last several years a few of these guys. It's also harder when you recruit so few of them. So what happens? Well, It's like you're not taking the upper, right? You're not taking the prospects that everyone really wants. You're taking these guys that are kind of mediocre. You're taking these guys that probably were rated, maybe they're too high for 3 stars. There's a couple on that roster right now. I don't think you have that with Manny Powell. I think Manny Powell is someone who in the first 2 or 3 years, or the first couple of years, is going to make the 2 deep at Arkansas. That's what I think about Manny Powell. But I've had such an issue with how Arkansas has recruited the linebacker position over the last 2 or 3 years. And, it's like they kind of go after these guys. Like last year, I thought was a pretty sound class. I like Marco Avant, and there's some other guys on that roster that could turn out to be pretty good. But it's more of a wait and see. We're not really sure, right, with most linebackers that Arkansas recruits. It's been a while. It's been a while since you could look at some linebackers and look at a defensive class, recruiting class, and say, wow, they killed it at the linebacker spot. Well, if you got Manny Powell, and then you look down the list here of your other linebackers that you have committed, Caden Henley, right, out of Shiloh, 6'2", 225, another kid with a pretty good-sized frame. I like him. I like him a lot. I think, and I'm going to try and go watch him play this year, as a matter of fact. I think he's someone that could develop into a pretty good ball player, that could develop into a pretty good linebacker. I'm not going to claim, like, all conference, but he's someone that I think it's going to be interesting to see how his senior year goes at Shiloh, and it's going to be interesting to see if, what he does when he gets on campus. So you now, what is that, 2 linebackers in this class. Miles Rouser, 4-star linebacker, right? Jaylen Lewis, J.J. Hollingsworth, kid out of Greenland. I'm feeling pretty good about what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. I'm feeling pretty good about what they're doing there. Offense not been too bad either. Offense hasn't been too bad either, obviously, with flipping a couple of guys. Well, flipping grabbing Andrew Chamblay, offensive tackle, 2 4-star tackles, right? You're never going to complain about that. Quincy McAdoo, who's a 4-star according to 247, 6'2", somewhere around 6'2", 6'3", about $180. I like Quincy McAdoo right out of Clarendon, Arkansas. So it's like this is a solid recruiting class, by the way. 5 4-stars at the moment, according to 247. We'll see how that changes over the rest of the offseason. But yeah, I think they're headed in a really good direction with this class. I think last year's class has a lot of 3 stars that are guys that are probably going to take a little bit of time. I don't see a lot of 3 stars from that class making any kind of a splash in year 1. Maybe a few of those guys year 2. Probably most of them year 3 guys. They're going to need time to develop. You look at this class and it's like Nico Davier. As Will corrected me, Nico is someone 6'4", 280 pounds, obviously has the frame to rack up some more weight, right? Probably going to be in the 2 deep in his first 2 years on campus. Wouldn't shock me, especially considering with what they're doing along the defensive line. You have 2 transfers in this year who are probably going to start. That tells you everything you need to know about what's going on, especially in the interior side of the defensive line. Your ends you feel pretty good about, but what's going on in the interior? So Nico is probably going to get a shot year 1, year 2 to make the 2 deep. That's how things are right now on the defensive line for the Hogs. Jaylen, I think honestly the future of the corners, it's not terrible, but Jaylen wouldn't shock me within the first couple of years to make the 2 deep. Now obviously Miles Rouser, safety. I feel like safety, if there's any position the Hogs like to utilize really 3 different types of safeties on their defense, on the back end of their defense. So the opportunity for a safety to come in, depending on their, how you could play to their strengths, because obviously free safety, strong safety, and then you have that third kind of hybrid safety spot. Used to be called the wolf safety position in certain defenses. There's different things, different attributes everyone can kind of contribute to those 3 different positions. Arkansas is in pretty good shape. And let's say just traditionally the 2 safety spots, right, the free and the strong. He's probably going to have to wait his turn. You still got Slusher, right? Well, no, I don't know what's going to happen with Jalen Catalon moving forward. He unfortunately doesn't have the size of an NFL corner or an NFL safety, but plays like he's 6'3", 240 pounds. I mean, he lowers the boom on folks, right? But he moves like his size would indicate. That's what you love. So does Catalon stick around? I think he probably does. Simply, I mean, who knows? He could come out this year and leave all doubters in the dust, and clearly he's the top safety in the country, right? I think he's one of the top 3 safeties in the SEC, but his size kind of holds him back in the NFL, according to the NFL, when you look at the prototypical size of his position on that level. He's a little bit under, right? So maybe that keeps him here an extra year. I don't know. But Miles Rouser is a guy you feel pretty damn confident in. Again, 6'1", 6'2", about $190. So yeah, this class is impressive. I'm really digging what they're doing here. Rashad Dubian, who's an athlete who could play. There's all sorts of different positions. But, James Joyner. So moving on, we'll talk about the decommit. And then I want to talk about a certain basketball prospect that's kind of been trending on Twitter in the college basketball world who entered the portal. So we'll get to that in a minute. James Joyner probably going to be off this class. I think he's going to end up decommitting here really soon. If you haven't heard, this is news to me. I didn't realize he'd taken down all of his Arkansas stuff. That was pointed out to me in our Discord. James Joyner has been rumored now for the last really 24 hours that he's probably going to decommit. Indiana has been pushing hard on James Joyner. Listen, I typically tell it like it is, all right? And I'm not afraid to do it. But hear me out. Oh, we got a super chat. Hang on. My mic is hitting puberty. It is. It's growing hairs in weird places. Mr. T-Dub says, man, I still don't get notifications. Woo pig anyways. Big gets. Quality depth matters. The QDM hashtag, Mr. T-Dub. Lewis had 7 to 8 SEC offers. That's nothing to sneeze at there. No, So we've talked about that before. There's a difference between an offer and a committable offer, right? Arkansas does this all the time. They'll throw out offers that doesn't mean they're committable at that particular point in time when they throw the offer out. Alabama is definitely known for this. They did this most recently in Arkansas, where Arkansas benefited to Darius Philon, who was a 3-star defensive tackle. They had an offer. They had offered him, if I remember right, they had offered him months before signing day, and they ended up picking up another defensive lineman, and I think it was the day of signing day, they withdrew his commitment. They didn't offer him to sign. So that's why I always stress there's a difference between commitments and committable offers and just, empty offers on the table. Or I shouldn't say empty. Just JIC offers, right? Just in case offers. And it doesn't mean they think less of that kid. They're just kind of playing the field. Every school does this. Arkansas does it. And that's just kind of the way it is. That's college football. Now, let me say this about James Joyner. Speaking of that, and by the way, before I keep going here, because I'm going to lay down some truth here. Shout out to the month of June. No, that's May. We don't have our June yet. June comes through. June Patreon should come through here in the next few days. Obviously, that'll be updated. But a shout out to all the May folks. Oh my gosh, this chair kicks my ass. I'm telling you something. So this is what I'm going to say about James Joyner. And it squeaks. I hate this chair. I hate it so much. This is what I'm going to say about the James Joyner situation. I'm not saying that this is fact. This is my opinion. As an observation, James Joyner, capable back. He's a capable P5 running back. Okay? Here's the issue. And the NFL has picked up on this for the last 10 years. The running back spot has been devalued drastically over the last 10, 12 years. And I think that has something to do with the fact that there's so many backs that are just alike, right? So many of these guys, maybe they offer a slightly different skill set. And here's an example, right? You have your Darren McFadden's of the world. All right, those guys are rare, but just hear me out, talking about different types of running backs. You have your Darren McFadden, straight on speed, a guy that hits the edge, he's gone, right? Then you have your Alex Collins types, right? 4.5, 40, but has I've always thought his vision, and you could see this in his high school film down in Florida. This dude's vision was unreal. He could see things happen, like Quicksilver from X-Men, just to give you an example. Like everything else slows down for him, and he's so agile and able to what do they call them in the NFL, cutbacks. He's got that ability to move east and west, his hip motion, right, his footwork. He's incredible at it. In the NFL, they value that highly. They value that as much, or if not more, than just straight on speed guys. Remember Chris Johnson? Remember him? That little scat back that played for the Titans back in the day. Or these power backs like Adrian Peterson, to name one, the most famous recent running back over the last 10 years. And the problem with James Joyner is he's kind of your average everyday running back. He's an average back. And I think Arkansas's known that all along. He recruited for Arkansas. He was definitely an advantage for Arkansas. He was able to reach out to guys. I'm pretty sure he reached out to Isaiah Santegna. I think he took part in flipping Quincy McAdoo. And I think Arkansas appreciated that. And I'm not saying they knew all along they were going to kind of withdraw from him. And they never took away their scholarship offer to Joyner. But I think there was a lack of communication from the University of Arkansas, and I don't think he was as high on their list of priorities. I don't think they want him to decommit, but I think, too, he kind of, I don't know, the cup is kind of overflowing with running backs who are all kind of similar. They're fast, they're quick, 4.5, 4.4 guys, decent vision. And again, I'm not saying that all running backs are the same, but I think Joyner kind of falls into that category of running backs where there's just so many of them out there that offer the exact same or similar skill set. And maybe he kind of fell off their list of like their value, right, of where they put James Joyner. According to 247, Powell had offers. Right, yeah. Again, Mike, yeah, I hear you, brother. Yeah. There's a difference between committable offers and offers. Anybody can pull up 247, right? Anybody can pull up 247 and look at his offers. But it takes a little bit. Sometimes you got to annoy people, got to hit them up in their DMs, talk to people, and find out what's committable and what's not. And from what I understand, he had at least 2 other SEC committable offers. I like him a lot. Now, Powell, I don't know how many SEC offers he had. I'm sure he had quite a few. So on James Joyner, he's got a great skill set. He's going to be a Power 5 back. No doubt in my mind that James Joyner is a Power 5 back. But I think his skill set, it's not. And again, I hate to compare players. This isn't an AJ Green, right? This isn't a Rocket Sanders type of player. Maybe a little bit of power, good burst, and has the strength to run through defenders. AJ Green, who's got good grief, track speed. Joyner's kind of your everyday running back. And again, he's an everyday running back on a P5 level, which is special. Make no mistake about it. He's good enough that Power 5 schools have offered him. I just think for Arkansas, he kind of fell down their list of guys that they're really going after, right? Joyner has some. At last I looked, he had some really good offers, but I do think he ends up with Indiana. Arizona State does have an offer. Boston College, he's got something like 20. Last I looked, he had 22 offers. I think he's up to 30 now. So, out of Parkview. I think he ends up probably going to Indiana. I know they pushed hard for him. Fans there are pretty excited for him. And I think he'd be a good fit in that offense up there. I think he really will have a great shot at somewhere like Indiana. At Arkansas, here's the other thing. Again, we just mentioned, like, that's the other side of it. What are the odds that James Joyner breaks into the 2 deep in the next 2 years? Yeah, not real high. Not real high. Arkansas is stacking up at the running back spot. AJ Green, I think, is going to end up being a pretty special running back. You've still got Rocket. Along with some other cats here and there. I think it's going to be pretty difficult for Joyner to get into that 2 deep in the next couple of years. And that's probably what he's looking for, right? Now, I don't know I don't know what's going on at the running back spot for them. But again, he's obviously good enough. The SEC schools have offered him. I think, again, Arkansas's kind of backed off a little bit from what I could tell. Again, that's not anything that I was told. But feels like, and based on kind of what you read and what you see here and there, and you look at James Joyner's Twitter and him taking down all of his hog stuff, there's obviously been a separation in communication. Something's going on. So I feel like he's going to end up decommitting. He was being recruited by Jimmy Smith. He's being recruited by DeLand McCullough at Indiana. So whatever happens, maybe he sticks it out. Maybe it's all nothing, but I have a feeling he ends up going elsewhere. What's up, Ty? What's up, Jesse South? The class is starting to shape up. Just a matter of time before Sam Pittman has us rolling. Woo pig. Daytona Beach. Every school has priority pecking order, which separates scholarship offers from interest level. Yeah, that is a good way of putting it. Exactly. Yeah, when they put offers out and they're out there. If anything, offers sometimes just mean we're really interested in you. Here's the offer, and sometimes you get kids that want to commit on the spot and they tell them, hold on. I think Arkansas ran into that recently with a certain 4-star receiver out of Texas. Something was going on there. I still don't know what was up with that. What was that kid's name? Who could tell me that kid's name? 4-star receiver was all ready to commit, and then last second something happened. That's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to have to go look at that when we're done streaming here. All right. On the final thing here, final piece, and then I'm going to probably end this and get ready to go shoot off some fireworks. Again, I hope you guys have a happy 4th and have an awesome 4th of July, whatever you plan on doing. Be safe. Try not to get too drunk shooting off fireworks. It's usually not a great combination. All right, Oral Roberts, Kevin Obanor, 6'8", 230+ pound forward, has entered the transfer portal. Now, this kid, pretty good. Averaged nearly a double-double. 19, almost, I think it was right under, I can't remember if it was right under 20 points a game or right under 19. Regardless, it's 18-plus points a game, right at about 10 rebounds a game. He's just under 10 rebounds per game, 50% at the field goal. This kid is huge. For those of you who follow basketball, looking at recruiting and everything, from what I understand, I don't know that he would be eligible this year. Someone's going to have to help me out with that because I know the NBA deadline's coming up. Now, I think there's a rule that says if you had entered into the NBA draft pool early, you had until like mid-July to come out of it and still be eligible for the rest of that season. Maybe that's what's going on here with Kevin Obanor. I don't know. I don't know if he's eligible this year or not. I think he is. No one has corrected me on Twitter, and I believe Arkansas has just one spot left in this class. They have, or with next year's roster, they have one spot left. That's what I should say. This upcoming roster, they have one spot. 6'8", 230-pound forward. I don't know his wingspan, but he looks like he's got about a 7-foot wingspan. Could be wrong. He's also just 6'8". It's hard to sometimes they just look ridiculously, like they have just knuckles that drag the floor behind them because they're so tall. They're so lengthy, right? I like this kid a lot. Obviously, you don't have to look far. Now, according to Jeff Goodman, who's a hang on a second. Before I go talking about Jeff Goodman, let's make sure I get his credentials correct. Basketball analyst at the stadium, covers hoops at all levels, previously at ESPN, CBS, Fox. He leaves his email for all complaints. And he has a this is June 15th. I need to look at this. He has Goodman's preseason top 25. Okay, we're going to take a look at that. He had tweeted earlier. I was going to scroll down here and look for it. Okay. So, colleges have, like someone pointed out in our conversation earlier in our comment section, someone has reached out to Kevin Obanor. There's been several schools. Arkansas has already reached out. Let's put him on screen, Kevin. Bow, there he is. There he is. Those looks terrify opposing coaches. This kid is, I mean, there's no doubt. He's a baller with those numbers we just went over. But other schools that have reached out besides Arkansas are Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Georgia, Penn State, several more. The belief is that if Texas offers, he's going to go back home. But, I mean, A&M and Tech both have offers for him to come. I don't know those schools, their situation as far as, how much room they have. But he's a player. I'm sure plenty of schools out there would try to make room for someone like Kevin Obanor. This guy, again, is special. Arkansas has indeed reached out. I don't know their chances. Now, this is, again, from Jeff Goodman also. Former Oral Roberts standout Kevin Obanor. His preference is to remain in the NBA draft process, but he's covering his bases by entering the transfer portal. He's worked out for Golden State, working out for the Cavs today, has Philadelphia and Orlando scheduled for next week. So maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the deadline is coming up soon for him, and I'm not 100% positive if he's eligible this year or not. And I've looked around and I can't find anything on that. So maybe, I don't know, someone will watch this later and fill me in, but maybe he is eligible. And if he is, holy crap. Could you imagine this kid with Eric Musselman and with this roster? Which, by the way, I mean, who knows what that starting five is going to look like, but does it matter? Kevin Obanor is going to be your starting five. Right? You're going to have a strong four-piece if Kevin Obanor is eligible this year and he comes to Arkansas, and there's no doubt in my mind there's not a better place for him than under Eric Musselman. There's not a doubt in my mind. You can call me biased. The evidence is there for everyone to see. It's not that hard to see what they did this year, what he's done for some of these players. Moses Moody, I feel like under Eric Musselman, he definitely was developed into a better player. Coming into the year, people had talked about him being a first-round pick. And then throughout the season, even though he kind of disappeared off and on, he still talked about it as a lottery pick. I don't know if he is or not at the moment. But I don't think there's any doubt he's going to enhance your career, not to mention his connections, right? Eric Musselman's connections, that is. His connections are ridiculous. He's going to know exactly what it takes. He's got people on his staff that knows exactly what it takes to be successful at the next level. To me, Arkansas is the obvious place for Kevin Obanor. I'm sure these other these other coaching staffs, they have NBA connections too. But I think the proof is in the pudding here with Coach Musselman, especially what he did year 2 coming out of a COVID year at the University of Arkansas, losing 2 big-time scorers like he did. He was able to bounce right back. Without Isaiah Joe, without Mason Jones, what he did this year was nothing short of incredible, and he did it with transfers and freshmen, guys that have never played together. Only a couple of them, right, that were here the previous year. So I think Arkansas is a great place for Kevin Obanor to wind up. Eric Musselman knows what it takes to put random pieces together and make it into one functioning team. I think that would just be a great place for Arkansas, for him to go, is to Arkansas. And again, I am biased, and that's if he decides to stay with the college route and if his draft grade isn't good enough. But again, I'm pretty sure those cutoff dates are coming up. It's Obanor. Okay. All right, Brooks, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. That's all that matters, Brooks. I'm going to call him Obanor. From now on, Obanor. Faison Wilson. That's who it was, Beach. Thank you. Yes, Faison Wilson. Highly recruited receiver. And Arkansas backed off for whatever reason. Last I checked, they still had an offer on the table for him, so I'm not really sure. It was at the time when all that went down, it was of the belief that Arkansas had actually backed off, so I don't know. if that was how accurate that was or not. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that this is a great place for him to land. Kevin Obanor. I think it's a great place for him to land at Arkansas. But he could go pro. He's got the size. There's no doubt about that. 6'8", 230 plus pounds. So, yeah. All right. There he is. That's a look that could be successful at the University of Arkansas. I don't know. And I think that's really about it. I think that's going to do it. I do appreciate you guys for coming through, watching. Leave a like or a dislike. I don't know. I don't really care. Subscribe if you haven't already. By the way, I was looking at my analytics, and holy cow, there are so many people watching my content that have not subscribed. My last video, 80%. No one subscribed. What is going on? And here's the funny thing. The like to dislike ratio on the channel is superb. It's like 98% to 2% like to dislike. I think, and from what I can understand too, it's a lot of people who just don't have YouTube accounts. So they just don't sub because they don't have accounts or whatever. They don't have Google or whatever, the Google account, right? So you get a lot of people who watch through like third party, you know, how you can open up a YouTube video without actually watching the through the app. And I think that's a lot of who watches this stuff. But do me a favor, if you have an account, hey, if you have a Google or a YouTube account, feel free to subscribe. That would be really cool. So much going on today. Holy crap. There are some more prospects, by the way, looking around. You still have Anthony Brown, who's gonna announce later on this month. 6'3", 6'2", 195-pound athlete out of I think it's Milan, Tennessee, or Milan, Tennessee. Has some really good offers on the table: Indiana, Michigan State, Memphis, and then you have who everyone's really excited about too, Jordan Crook, this 3-star, 6 foot, 230-pound middle linebacker out of Duncanville, Texas. He just recently decommitted from Oklahoma State, like last week, June 30th. He has other offers from Big 12 schools like Texas Tech and Baylor. Oklahoma State still on top of him. Sounds pretty promising. He ends up being a commit in this class. Wow. And then there's still other prospects out there. There's still other linebackers they're after. And I don't know what the cap is. The belief was that it was 3. So we'll see what they end up doing, but you've got to feel better about the direction. Now, again, Jordan Crook, he's one of those sub 6'2" guys, right? Sub 6'1". He's 6 foot, 225 pounds. But again, it's got some legit offers, and someone that just decommitted from Oklahoma State. Other P5 schools are interested, and it sounds like Arkansas has kind of made their way to the top of his list. So we'll keep an eye on him. Again, Anthony Brown is actually going to he's gonna commit at the end of July. I forgot. I want to say it was July 25th. Maybe that's a Saturday. I want to say it was July. It was either the 24th or 25th. I think it's the not quite the last weekend of July, but right there towards the end of the month. So just keep an eye on that. Again, a couple more defensive players that Arkansas is after. Well, at least Jordan Crook is anyways, another linebacker. So you got to feel good about the direction they're heading in on the defensive side of things. If you say Obanor, I'll hit the dislike button. Oh, whatever. Mentioned that Musselman recruited him previously and that they had a solid relationship. So that's news to me. I didn't know that. This was before our game with them in the NCAA tournament. So I did not know that. I did not know that Musselman had recruited him. That's pretty cool. Huh. Okay. The dislikes are accidentally pressed. Look, yeah, they might be. I don't know. The like to dislike ratio, though, is pretty awesome on this channel. There's no doubt about that. And you guys know I appreciate it. I also appreciate the individuals who have subbed and the Patreon supporters. Again, one last time, Actually, we'll just end on that. I'll just throw this up. There it is. Boom. We're going to end on that. Again, thank you guys. Happy 4th. Be safe. Be careful. Go celebrate the USA. Go celebrate. Go have a good time. I will see you guys next week. Woo pig.